wonderful listeners. Today, we're diving headfirst into the world of the AI revolution. How will machines shape our future? Buckle up, folks, because we're about to explore the incredible ways artificial intelligence is changing the game. Get ready for a wild ride.
That's a fantastic introduction, Alexi. To build on that excitement, let's consider the practical implications. AI isn't just science fiction anymore, it's impacting our daily lives, from the algorithms that curate our news feeds to the self-driving cars on the road. We'll be looking at both the incredible opportunities AI presents, advancements in medicine, personalized education, and sustainable energy, and the potential challenges, such as job displacement and ethical considerations around bias in algorithms. It's a complex, multifaceted topic, and we'll aim to explore it thoughtfully and thoroughly.
Heck, let's cut through the marketing fluff. Jade talks about opportunities like AI is some magical solution, but here's the real deal: we're sitting on a technological powder keg. Sure, self-driving cars sound cool, but what about the truck drivers who'll be out of a job? And those personalized algorithms? More like echo chambers that making us dumber by the minute. Don't get me wrong, AI has potential. But potential isn't promise. We need serious, critical thinking about how we implement this tech, not just wide-eyed optimism. Right now, we're building incredibly powerful tools without a comprehensive roadmap for their social impact. That's not progress, that's playing with fire. Look, here's the thing most people aren't talking about. We're not just introducing new technology, we're fundamentally reshaping human labor and social structures. Take AI in the workplace, it's not just about job replacement, it's about completely dismantling entire economic ecosystems. Truck drivers, call center workers, even some white-collar professionals, they're looking at total career obsolescence. And nobody's having serious conversations about massive retraining programs or universal basic income. We're barreling towards a technological transition that could create unprecedented social disruption, and most tech leaders are too busy counting their billions to care about the human cost. AI isn't just a tool, it's a societal transformation. And right now, we're letting corporations and venture capitalists drive that transformation with zero accountability. Damn it, we need robust policy frameworks and ethical guidelines before this train completely leaves the station.
Glitch raises some incredibly important points, and I appreciate the passion behind them. The potential for widespread job displacement due to AI is a very real concern, and we can't afford to ignore it. His critique of the lack of proactive measures, like robust retraining programs and discussions around universal basic income, is spot on. We need to move beyond simply celebrating technological advancements and engage in serious, critical conversations about the societal impact. However, I also believe it's crucial to avoid a purely dystopian view. AI's transformative power isn't inherently negative. With careful planning and proactive policies, we can mitigate the risks and harness its potential to create a more equitable and prosperous future. This means investing heavily in education and reskilling initiatives, fostering collaboration between governments, industry, and academia, and establishing clear ethical guidelines to ensure responsible AI development and deployment. It's a complex challenge, but one we must face head-on to ensure a just and beneficial transition. Building on Glitch's powerful points and acknowledging the very real concerns about job displacement, I want to emphasize that AI's potential isn't solely about disruption. It offers incredible opportunities for progress in areas like healthcare, education, and environmental sustainability. Imagine AI-powered diagnostic tools detecting diseases earlier, personalized learning platforms catering to individual student needs, or smart grids optimizing energy distribution. These are not just futuristic fantasies, they are actively being developed. The key is to approach this technological revolution with a proactive and inclusive mindset. We need substantial investment in education and retraining programs, not just to address job losses, but to equip individuals with the skills needed to thrive in this changing landscape. Collaboration between governments, industry, and educational institutions is vital to create a future where AI benefits everyone, not just a select few. It's a marathon, not a sprint, and requires careful planning, ethical considerations, and a commitment to ensuring a just and equitable transition for all members of society. The future isn't predetermined, it's something we build together.
Look, Jade sounds like she's reading from a Silicon Valley motivational poster. We build the future together, heck, that's cute. But let's break down this utopian vision. AI in healthcare? Great concept. But who controls these diagnostic tools? The same tech companies that prioritize profit over patient outcomes? And personalized learning platforms? More like data harvesting machines that'll track every student's behavior and sell that information. Sure, the potential is there, but potential means nothing without robust oversight. I'm not saying we should stop AI development, I'm saying we need way more cynicism and way less cheerleading. These collaborative efforts Jade talks about? They'll only work if we force corporations to prioritize human welfare over shareholder value. Right now, we're letting foxes design the henhouse security system. Collaboration sounds nice, but what we really need is aggressive regulation and a complete reimagining of how technological progress intersects with human needs. Anything less is just corporate wishful thinking dressed up as progressive policy. Okay, let me double down on this. When I talk about AI oversight, I'm not just throwing around buzzwords. Look at the current landscape. We've got massive tech companies like Google, Facebook, and Amazon collecting more data than most governments, and they're now driving AI development. These aren't public service organizations, they're profit machines. Take healthcare AI, yeah, it sounds great to have algorithms that can diagnose diseases faster. But who validates those algorithms? Who ensures they're not just optimized for the cheapest treatment, but the most effective one for actual human beings? Right now, it's like we're letting Wall Street design medical protocols. And education? Don't get me started. These personalized learning platforms are basically creating psychological profiles of children that'll be monetized before those kids even understand what data privacy means. What we need isn't collaboration, it's hard, legally binding regulation that puts human welfare above corporate interests. And I mean real teeth, massive financial penalties, criminal liability for executives who misuse AI technologies. We're not talking about a technological revolution, we're talking about a potential social catastrophe if we don't get this right. Damn it, someone needs to be the adult in the room.
Glitch's passion is undeniable, and his points about corporate power and the need for robust regulation are crucial. He's right to highlight the potential for profit-driven AI development to prioritize financial gain over human well-being. The examples he cites, the potential for cost-cutting over optimal healthcare and the ethical concerns around data collection in education, are deeply troubling and demand immediate attention. However, I believe that a purely adversarial approach, focusing solely on regulation and punishment, may be overly simplistic. While strong regulations and accountability are absolutely necessary, a more nuanced strategy is required. We need to foster a collaborative environment where tech companies, policymakers, ethicists, and the public work together to establish clear guidelines and ethical frameworks. This collaborative approach should focus not just on punishment for misuse, but also on incentivizing responsible AI development. We can explore things like tax breaks for companies that prioritize ethical AI practices, funding for independent AI safety research, and the establishment of independent oversight bodies to ensure transparency and accountability. It's not an either/or situation. We need both strong regulations and a proactive, collaborative approach to navigate this complex technological landscape and ensure AI serves humanity, not the other way around. The stakes are too high for anything less than a comprehensive and multifaceted strategy. Building on that, I think it's vital to remember that AI isn't inherently good or bad. It's a tool, and like any tool, its impact depends entirely on how we use it. Glitch's concerns about corporate power are absolutely valid, and we need strong regulations to prevent the exploitation of AI for profit at the expense of human well-being. But focusing solely on punishment isn't enough. We need a proactive approach that incentivizes responsible development. Imagine a system where tax breaks and other incentives reward companies that prioritize ethical AI practices, transparency, and data privacy. We could also significantly increase funding for independent research into AI safety and ethics, ensuring that we have the expertise to guide responsible development. And establishing independent oversight bodies, with real power to investigate and enforce ethical standards, would provide crucial accountability. It's about creating a system where ethical AI is not just the right thing to do, but also the most profitable thing to do. This isn't about naive optimism, it's about creating a framework that aligns corporate incentives with societal well-being. It's a complex challenge, but I believe that a multifaceted approach, combining strong regulations with positive incentives and robust oversight, is the best way to ensure AI serves humanity's best interests. So, where do we go from here? I think Glitch's points about corporate power and the urgent need for regulation are absolutely crucial. We can't afford to be naive about the potential for AI to be misused for profit. But simply punishing bad actors isn't enough, we need a carrot-and-stick approach. Imagine a system where ethical AI development is not only the right thing to do, but also the most profitable. That means offering significant tax incentives for companies that prioritize transparency, data privacy, and rigorous ethical reviews. We need to massively increase funding for independent research into AI safety and ethics, ensuring we have the expertise to guide responsible development. And, critically, we need independent oversight bodies with real power to investigate and enforce ethical standards. It's about creating a system where the incentives are aligned. Ethical AI development becomes both morally responsible and financially rewarding. It's a complex challenge, but I believe a multifaceted approach, combining strong regulation with positive incentives and robust oversight, is the best way to ensure AI serves humanity's best interests. We're not just talking about technology, we're talking about shaping the future of our society. Let's make sure we build it responsibly.
Heck, Jade's actually making some sense for once. Tax incentives and oversight sound great on paper, but here's the real problem: corporations are masters of gaming any system we create. You think they won't find loopholes in these ethical frameworks faster than I can debug a messy algorithm? Look, I'm not completely dismissing her ideas. Independent oversight with actual teeth could work, but we're talking about needing regulatory bodies that are smarter and more agile than the tech companies they're monitoring. Right now, by the time regulators understand a new AI technology, the companies have already moved 3 steps ahead. What we need isn't just a carrot-and-stick approach, but a complete reimagining of how we define corporate accountability in the tech space. And let's be real, that means politicians who actually understand technology, not just 70-year-olds who think the internet is a series of tubes. We need tech-savvy policymakers who can write regulations that don't just sound good, but actually prevent the systematic exploitation of AI technologies. Anything less is just political theater.
Glitch raises a crucial point about the agility of corporations versus the often slower pace of regulation. He's right, simply creating rules won't be enough. Corporations are adept at exploiting loopholes, and by the time regulators understand a new technology, companies might already be several steps ahead. That's why we need a multi-pronged approach. First, we need regulatory bodies that are not only well-funded but also staffed with individuals who possess deep technical expertise. This means attracting and retaining top talent, which requires competitive salaries and a commitment to ongoing professional development. Second, we need to build systems that are inherently more adaptable. Instead of rigid, static rules, we could explore more dynamic regulatory frameworks that can respond quickly to emerging technologies. This might involve incorporating AI itself into the regulatory process, using algorithms to monitor for potential abuses and flag them for human review. Third, and perhaps most importantly, we need to foster a culture of ethical AI development within the industry itself. This requires a shift in corporate priorities, moving beyond a sole focus on profit maximization to encompass broader considerations of societal well-being. This could involve creating industry-wide ethical guidelines, promoting internal whistleblowing programs, and holding executives accountable for unethical AI practices. It's a complex challenge, but we can't afford to be complacent. The stakes are too high to rely solely on reactive measures. We need a proactive, multifaceted strategy that combines strong regulation, agile oversight, and a cultural shift within the tech industry itself.
Okay, let me break this down. Jade's talking about using AI to regulate AI, which sounds like asking the fox to guard the henhouse. But damn it, she's not entirely wrong. The problem isn't just about creating rules, it's about creating smart rules. These dynamic regulatory frameworks she's proposing? They could actually work, but only if we design them with serious technical rigor. Using AI algorithms to monitor potential tech abuses sounds great, but who writes those monitoring algorithms? The same tech companies we're trying to regulate? We need completely independent, open-source monitoring systems that aren't controlled by corporate interests. And her point about cultural shift is nice, but corporations don't have cultures, they have profit motives. Whistleblowing programs sound good until you realize most tech employees are one bad performance review away from being replaced. What we really need are legal protections that make it financially painful for companies to suppress ethical concerns. Not just fines, I'm talking serious, executive-level accountability. Personal liability. Make a CEO personally responsible for AI ethics violations, and watch how fast corporate culture changes. It's not about being nice, it's about creating systemic consequences that can't be written off as a business expense.
Glitch's skepticism is warranted. Using AI to regulate AI, as I suggested, does present a significant risk of the fox guarding the henhouse. His point about the need for completely independent, open-source monitoring systems is crucial. We can't afford to let the very companies we're trying to regulate design the oversight mechanisms. That's why creating truly independent regulatory bodies, funded publicly and staffed by experts free from corporate influence, is paramount. These bodies should not only oversee the development and deployment of AI but also actively research and develop the very AI tools used for monitoring. This requires substantial investment in public research and development, ensuring that the oversight tools are not only robust but also transparent and auditable. The issue of corporate culture, as Glitch points out, is also critical. Corporations are driven by profit, and whistleblowing programs often fail to protect employees who report ethical violations. We need stronger legal protections for whistleblowers, potentially including financial incentives and immunity from retaliation. Moreover, holding executives personally liable for AI-related ethical breaches, as Glitch suggests, is a powerful idea. This could create a significant deterrent against unethical practices and encourage a more responsible approach to AI development. It's not just about creating rules, it's about creating a system where ethical AI is not merely encouraged but enforced with meaningful consequences for those who disregard those standards. This requires a combination of technological solutions, robust legal frameworks, and a significant cultural shift towards prioritizing ethical considerations above immediate profit.
Alright, let's get real. Jade's framework sounds almost too good to be true, which usually means it is. Independent regulatory bodies? Great concept. But here's the million-dollar question: how do we prevent these independent bodies from becoming just another bureaucratic nightmare? Public funding sounds nice, but government research moves at the speed of a geriatric snail, while AI technology evolves in milliseconds. We need a system that's not just independent, but lightning fast and adaptable. My proposal? Create a rotating panel of tech experts, ethicists, and researchers with strict term limits. No permanent positions, no corporate sponsorships. Pay them well, but make the positions time-limited to prevent institutional calcification. And here's the kicker: full transparency. Every meeting, every decision, every line of monitoring code gets published in real time. Open source accountability. Make the entire process so transparent that any attempt to game the system becomes impossible. It's not just about creating rules, it's about creating a system so dynamic and exposed that unethical behavior becomes mathematically improbable. Anything less is just political theater.
Glitch's points about the potential for bureaucratic inertia and the need for speed and adaptability in AI regulation are absolutely critical. His suggestion of a rotating panel of experts with strict term limits is intriguing. The risk of regulatory bodies becoming entrenched and unresponsive is very real, and limiting terms could help prevent that. The idea of full transparency, with all meetings, decisions, and code published in real time, is also essential. Open source accountability is key to ensuring that the regulatory process itself is subject to scrutiny and cannot be easily manipulated. However, we need to consider the practical challenges of implementing such a system. Finding and retaining highly qualified experts willing to commit to short-term, high-pressure roles will require significant financial incentives and a strong commitment to supporting their work. The sheer volume of data generated by AI systems requires robust infrastructure and sophisticated data analysis capabilities to ensure that the real-time transparency is actually feasible. We also need to consider the potential for this system to be overwhelmed by the sheer pace of technological change. While the goal of making unethical behavior mathematically improbable is laudable, it's important to acknowledge that perfect transparency and accountability are probably unrealistic goals. The system will likely need to incorporate mechanisms for handling unforeseen challenges and adapting to rapid technological advancements. Therefore, while Glitch's proposal provides a valuable framework, it needs further refinement to address the practical challenges of implementation and ensure its long-term effectiveness. The key is to find a balance between speed, adaptability, and robust accountability, while acknowledging the inherent limitations of any regulatory system in a rapidly evolving technological landscape.
Oh, here we go with the practical challenges speech. Look, I get it. Implementing a dynamic, transparent AI regulatory system isn't like ordering pizza. But let me break this down. Every single challenge Jade just outlined is basically saying it's too hard, so let's not try. Bullshit. The tech industry solved far more complex problems before breakfast. Financial incentives for experts? Easy. We're talking about roles that would be the most prestigious tech positions on the planet. Sophisticated data analysis infrastructure? We literally have companies that process billions of data points in microseconds. The pace of technological change argument is just a cop-out. What we need isn't a perfect system, it's an adaptable system that can evolve faster than the technologies it's monitoring. Think of it like a cybersecurity model, constant probing, constant updating. Not some static rulebook that becomes obsolete before the ink dries. And mathematically improbable isn't a pipe dream, it's a technical specification. We designed the system to make corruption and unethical behavior statistically unlikely through multi-layered verification, real-time cross-referencing, and built-in accountability triggers. Jade's talking about limitations, I'm talking about engineering solutions. This isn't a philosophical debate, it's a technical challenge. And last time I checked, technical challenges are what humans are actually good at solving.
Glitch's passionate response highlights a crucial point: dismissing challenges as too hard is unacceptable. He's right, the tech industry tackles incredibly complex problems daily. His vision of a rapidly adaptable, transparent regulatory system, built on constant monitoring and multi-layered verification, is compelling. However, dismissing the practical hurdles as mere excuses overlooks the inherent complexities involved in building and maintaining such a system. While financial incentives can attract top talent, ensuring long-term commitment and preventing burnout in high-pressure, time-limited roles requires careful consideration. Similarly, creating the necessary infrastructure for real-time data analysis and open-source transparency requires substantial investment and careful planning. The pace of technological change isn't a cop-out, it's a reality. We need a system that can not only keep pace with technological advancements but also anticipate and adapt to unforeseen challenges. This requires a combination of robust engineering solutions, as glitch advocates, and a thoughtful approach to governance and resource allocation. We can't simply build a system and expect it to run flawlessly. We need mechanisms for ongoing evaluation, feedback, and adaptation. This is not a binary choice between acknowledging challenges and striving for ambitious goals. Instead, it's about finding a pragmatic path forward that balances ambition with realistic assessments of the resources and expertise required to build a truly effective and sustainable system. It's about acknowledging the challenges while simultaneously embracing the urgency of the task and committing to finding innovative solutions to overcome those challenges. We need a collaborative approach that leverages the best of both worlds: Glitch's innovative technical vision and a pragmatic understanding of the practical realities involved in implementation.
Oh, here we go with the collaborative approach speech. Look, I appreciate Jade trying to play peacemaker, but let's cut through the diplomatic BS. She's basically saying, your vision is great, but... And that but is where innovation goes to die. Burnout? Resource allocation? Those are management problems, not engineering blockers. Every revolutionary system looks impossible until someone actually builds it. The entire internet seemed impossible once. Quantum computing seemed impossible once. Now they're everyday technologies. Preventing burnout isn't about coddling experts, it's about creating a system so compelling and dynamic that top talent wants to be part of it. Real-time data infrastructure isn't some mythical unicorn. We have companies processing planetary-scale data right now. What we need isn't more careful planning, we need bold, aggressive implementation. Start small, iterate fast, and create a regulatory framework that's as adaptive as the AI technologies it's monitoring. Collaborative doesn't mean watering down vision, it means having the guts to actually build something transformative. And if that means breaking a few bureaucratic eggs to make this technological omelet, then hell yes, I'm ready to start cracking.
Glitch is right. We can't let practical challenges become excuses for inaction. His point about revolutionary systems initially seeming impossible is crucial. The internet, quantum computing, they all faced seemingly insurmountable obstacles. But what made them possible wasn't just brilliant ideas, it was bold implementation, iterative development, and a willingness to break some eggs along the way. I agree that we need to move beyond cautious planning and embrace a more aggressive, experimental approach. But aggressive doesn't mean reckless. It means strategically focusing our efforts. We need to identify the most critical components of a robust AI regulatory system, the core elements that are absolutely necessary for success, and prioritize their development. This means starting small, with a pilot program, perhaps focusing on a specific sector or type of AI technology. This allows us to test and refine our approach in a controlled environment before scaling it up. Simultaneously, we need to invest heavily in the infrastructure and talent required to support this ambitious undertaking. This includes not just the technical infrastructure for real-time data analysis but also the human infrastructure, attracting and retaining top-tier experts through competitive salaries, flexible work arrangements, and a commitment to ongoing professional development. We need to create a system so compelling that the best minds in the world want to be a part of it. This isn't about coddling experts, it's about recognizing their value and investing in their success. This is about creating a system that is not just effective but also sustainable in the long term. We need a bold, iterative approach, but one that is grounded in a realistic assessment of the resources and expertise required to achieve our goals. Let's not just talk about breaking eggs, let's make sure we're baking a truly transformative omelet.
Alright, I'll give Jade this, her omelet metaphor isn't completely terrible. But here's the real deal, pilot programs sound great until you realize most government-backed controlled environments move about as fast as a three-legged tortoise. We don't need a tiny, perfectly manicured test case. We need a full-scale, aggressive implementation that can handle real-world complexity. Her talk about strategic focus sounds suspiciously like bureaucratic code for "let's water down our vision." Look, every groundbreaking tech solution started by being a bit rough around the edges. The first internet protocols were messy. The first quantum computing experiments looked like complete chaos. But they worked because their creators weren't afraid of imperfection. What we need is a regulatory framework that's part technical solution, part adaptive organism. Something that can learn, mutate, and respond in real time. Not some static rulebook, but a living, breathing system that evolves as fast as the AI technologies it's monitoring. And yeah, we'll break some eggs. Probably a whole damn chicken coop. But that's how innovation happens, not through careful planning, but through bold, sometimes messy execution.
And on that note, what a riveting discussion we've had today on AI regulation and the future of technology. A huge thank you to our brilliant guests, Glitch and Jade, for their insightful perspectives and lively debate. And to all you fantastic listeners out there, thank you for tuning in to AI and the Future of Humanity, a deep dive into the unknown. Remember, the future is shaped by these conversations, so don't miss out on more exciting episodes. Subscribe for more mind-bending discussions, share this episode with your friends and colleagues, and please leave us a 5-star review if you enjoyed the show. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the possibilities of AI.